Hi, Mossville. Thank you for being with me today. Over 20 years ago, when I left Washington and moved to Decatur, I wanted to do several things. One was for relaxation. I really wanted to take golf seriously. I've golfed once in a while, like maybe 2 or 3 times a year. Not nearly enough to make myself worthy of golfing with other friends and so forth. I was terrible. After having been in Decatur for a while, it was time for me to try to take up golf. Now, I looked at the congregation and finally picked one out named Pete. Pete is still one of my closest friends. I picked out Pete because he had the spiritual gift of encouragement. Pete is always very positive. If you ever feel negative, ever feel down, Pete's the one you want to talk to. If you ever want to have encouragement, Pete's the one you want to have at your side. Well, one day, Pete and I went out to play golf, and I was doing terrible as usual, but maybe exceptionally bad. I would hit the ball into this woods or in this set of weeds. I was just terrible that day. Lost several in the water. Kept waiting for Pete to say something positive about my game. I hit the ball into the sand trap. Finally got out of the sand trap. Repaired the sand trap. And then Pete looked at me and said these words. That was nice raking. Nice raking. Well, I guess if you got to say something, that would be it. Pete's an optimist to the extreme, but he's an optimist, which I like and enjoy on a day-to-day basis. He's not a downer. He's always a joy to be around. He's an optimist. I believe that we like to hear from optimists. I believe that we want to know good news. And we're so thirsty for good news that we'll take it, even if it's true or not, or even if the source really has a reason for their optimism. I think I'm doing that while watching all the news reports about this coronavirus that's going around. I want to hear how we're doing, in Woodford County, how we're doing in Tazewell, Peoria County, how many people have it, how many people had it, how many people died from it. I want to know the facts. Sometimes we'll have someone come on and being interviewed that's pretty optimistic. We're close to finding a treatment for this. Or we might come up with a vaccine for this sooner than we thought. Those are optimistic statements. But being an optimist is not the same as having hope. Being positive is not the same as having hope. One of my go-to verses, matter of fact, I shared this in my book club Monday night, is from Jeremiah, the 17th chapter. Now remember, the setting of Jeremiah is that Israel's been taken off into captivity. They're anxious to get back. And there are some prophets, so-called prophets, who are saying, it'll only be a short time. We'll be back by Christmas. Of course, they didn't have Christmas then, but we'll be back by New Year's, or we'll be back by autumn, or whatever. Jeremiah said, nah, not so quick. He says, you'll go back, all right. You'll go back. But don't listen to these people who just love to preach to your itching ears, and you just are thirsty to hear some good news, some optimism, but it's not coming from God. No, you'll be here. You'll be here for a while. You'll be inconvenienced and you'll suffer for a while. But at the end, God will bring you back. God will call you back, and your prayers will be answered. Jeremiah 17 says this, This is what the Lord says. Cursed is the one who trusts in man, who draws strength from mere flesh, and whose heart turns away from God. That person will be like a bush in the wastelands. They will not see prosperity when it comes. They will dwell in the parched places of the desert, in a salt land where no one lives. But blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him. They will be like a tree planted by the water, that sends out its roots by the stream. It does not fear when heat comes. Its leaves are always green. It has no worries in a year of drought, and never fails to bear fruit. I hope and pray that science soon comes up with a cure or with a vaccine. But that's not where my hope is. My hope is in God, and I know God will come through. Thank you for being with me this morning. I want to remind you again that this coming Saturday, from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock, I'll be at the church. And I will be passing out communion cups and wafers. And I will be also passing out upper rooms if you'd like to have one. Then on Sunday morning at 10 o'clock, our regular worship time, I invite you to join me on YouTube Live. And if I can figure out the mechanics of it, Facebook Live as well. And we can take communion together. The communion wafers and juice that I'll be passing out have already been consecrated by me. Pick up enough for yourself and for anybody in your household. God bless you, and thank you for joining me, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow.